Dr. Christian von Lahr, you're watching Messenger, and boy, am I excited to have you back. You know, we left off with a key word that we didn't really explore. We just touched on it, self-love. Marcy, I got to tell you, in all my years of experience, I see that word thrown out constantly, all the time, everywhere, as if it's a panacea, it's the answer, but I never see that many people understand what it is. And the other side of that is success, another one we throw out. So, what you're going to do for us is you're going to show us, you're going to teach us probably, how to bring those two together and what the real definition should be and how it can appeal to this younger audience that's really the seekers right now.
Okay. It's a big question.
It is.
It's broad and this great expanse that you were referring to before. And the reason that it's so expansive is because it's always growing. We're always creating it, so it becomes greater and greater and greater. So what's so important to understand is that how we create that expansiveness is through allowing our authenticity to come forward and loving that authenticity. So that's it in a nutshell.
Is the authenticity relative to success? Is that what we're speaking?
Yes, from my perspective.
So what's the label we put on this authenticity then?
Well, I believe that authenticity is really the roadmap to self-love.
Okay.
I believe that as we allow it to be revealed,
Excellent.
Our authentic selves, that means not just being aware of our authentic self, but taking the actions that are in alignment with the urgings of that authentic self. That is creating this relationship that allows us to have a more meaningful and fulfilling life because it's based on following and taking actions and making all the choices that are in alignment with the urgings of our spirit, because our spirit is connected to our soul, and our soul has this purpose that needs to come forward that answers the question that everyone asks, and that is, who am I?
Exactly.
What am I doing here? What is my purpose? What is my worth? What is my value? And that's how it's all answered. So as we allow our authentic thoughts and feelings to come forward, and we take the actions that are in alignment with it, and that is the most essential part, even though even the awareness of it alone is such a wonderful beginning place. We want to take it further, and we want to take it deeper, because we want to be in the full fruition of that greatness of our being.
Okay, so let me see if I can't paraphrase the show thus far, because I really like where it's going. So, we are distinguishing the soul, to go back to that concept, to say it actually is the purpose part of us. Okay? If we want to have a life, then we have soul. And in accomplishing that purpose, if we're going to accomplish it, we have to have this thing called self-love. In order to have self-love, we must be authentic. And I'm going to bring in soulmates and say that the soulmates are probably what help us become more authentic. Maybe they're sounding boards, maybe they're guiding posts, but they help us be authentic. So perhaps the secret to life, happiness, as you mentioned, fulfillment, another term we use, love, another one, and compassion, might be achieving that authenticity, which we're putting the label on self-love. Now finally we got a definition. So self-love is being true to ourselves. So we can help find what's true in ourselves, other people can help us, and you're saying now that spirit also can be urging us and influencing us to be authentic or else know ourselves. Okay, so it sounds like that deep down, inside of us, or way out there, however we want to use this perspective, we sort of know the answers. And it's a matter of rediscovery. And that's an ancient wisdom concept also. Yeah. So, and this goes back to something we mentioned in the first segment. Who gets in our way? We do. So perhaps part of self-love is getting out of our own way, or realizing or taking responsibility that if life isn't working, maybe we can't be blaming everybody. Sure, I know the childhood was rough or money was an issue, but perhaps it was the learning experience we needed. Perhaps it helped us find the focus we wanted in life, to explore our innate abilities or gifts, so that we can eventually find self-love. So, where I'm going with this one is, maybe it's not just a step ladder hierarchy, maybe dynamically we're constantly doing these things endlessly. It isn't always just climbing the ladder. Self-love starts from the moment you're born to the day you die, as does all the discovery, as does the compassion, as does the soulmate relationships. They're probably started when you were younger, that potential was there, and to the day you die, you probably still have potentials for soulmates and self-love and finding perfection. Wow.
Well, yeah. And you want it to.
Exactly.
Because that's what's so much fun. I mean, imagine going about your day with this awareness that my job is to just allow my authenticity to come forward and to discover which actions or choices are in alignment with it. At the end of my day, that's how I judge my, and you use the word success, if I may. That's how I judge my success. How effective was I? How successful was I in taking my urgings of my spirit that came about as I was revealing these authentic parts of myself, and how effective was I in creating the choices, making the choices, taking what I needed from that moment to be in alignment with that.
I love this. You know what you're saying also here? We're talking about success and the self-love and the self-awareness and authenticity, but you're also using the word my, okay? Now this is interesting, because what matters is, do I feel compassion? Do I feel love? Do I feel successful? We don't necessarily have to be looking at another person and modeling after them precisely for us to have love and happiness.
That's when we get in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
When we start trying to determine that according to someone else's determinations of what that success should be.
So part of authenticity, if I'm understanding you, Marcy, is we got to know what's driving us, and that's the spirit you mentioned. And it doesn't have to be what's driving your mother, your father, your sisters,
or
your peers. It never is, okay?
Because it's connected to only your soul's purpose.
You know, a lot of people don't realize that some of the struggles and things that we have in life are meant for us to see the opposite. So there is a duality to existence. So all those things that led us to this particular age, even though they may not have all seemed pleasant or good, unless we experience those, we may not see the other side of the coin, right?
Sure.
So we really have to try and go back also and look at all of the history we've had as part of that learning and growing experience. How can you feel that compassion, that love, to the degree that we're looking for if we haven't comparatively suffered, right? So it's the cohesion of the two coming together at the end of existence that sort of made it all worthwhile. Is that where faith and belief comes in, you think? Just trusting is the message or meaning?
I think certainly that faith and belief come in. But I think also there's a lot of ancient teachings and wisdoms that say that we don't necessarily have to suffer in order to achieve that goal. What it can be is just this awareness that we have a soul's purpose, that it's going to direct, and how we know that it's directing us is how we feel. I know that I've been asked very often by many people, how do I know if I'm in alignment? Well, first you have to know what it is that you're feeling. If you're feeling good about how you are engaging in this experience, you're in alignment. So how we judge this always, always, always is to first develop that relationship with ourselves, so that we are conscious and we are knowing how we're feeling at any given moment.
So don't you have to accept that yourself is as important as every other person's self? And every self in the universe, okay? They're equally, whether we're a grain of sand, or a Marcy Neumann, or Christian von Lahr, or your pet. We're all quintessentially important, simply at different stages of our evolution. And so, if I'm understanding your concept of alignment and this authenticity, we simply have to be true to, or be in alignment with who we are at this particular moment, because this life is some sort of a focus for us. We don't have to worry about all of existence or the past or anyone else. We have to worry about getting across these lessons, or getting accomplished in these lessons in life, and that's just being true to us. And you know, it's hard to perhaps for the audience to understand, but if you're meant to accomplish A, B, and Z in life, and someone else is accomplishing G, H, and F, it doesn't matter that they're not the same thing, right? If your passion and your drives and your inclinations are taking you in that direction, don't you follow those?
That, I think, is when we really start to claim for ourselves a truly happy and fulfilling life. when we make that choice based upon what our heart is telling us. And you know how we know that? By what makes us feel this passion. And what I tell people all the time is that 100% of the time, prosperity follows passion. So be in your passion. When you're in your passion, everything is in alignment because your passion is connected to your soul's purpose. And the universe is going to bend over backwards to make sure that you have everything that you need to stay in that passion because it needs you to be in it in order for it to be unfolding in the way that it's meant to. And that comes from this constant creation of this expansive universe. We are the expanders. We are the creators. We're the ones who are depositing these particles of love that just keep expanding the universe. So the universe needs us to be in our passion so that we can be constantly depositing more and more and more of those particles of passion. And my God, talk about a skyrocket.
Yeah, but you've actually brought in yet another spiritual concept. You know, we've often said that when we're on our path or in alignment, the universe helps us, the guides help us, the angels help us. When we come back, we're going to discover how we are not alone in accomplishing that self-awareness, that compassion, that love. As long as we're willing to be on that path, the universe itself will help us when we come back.
Right.